What's up my dudes, Seth Mick here. This is Native Diamond, where I cover everything metal and rock related.
Welcome to the Native Diamond podcast.
Oh shit! What you waiting for?
Before I start today's show, I need to plug a couple of things. You can find me at native_podcast on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. There we can have more conversations about topics on the show. You can answer questions and give any kind of feedback. Give me motivation to keep making these videos. I love hearing the feedback and I love answering the questions. If you like today's show, please hit subscribe and ring the bell. That way you will be informed on any new episodes that are released. Without further ado, let's get into the review.
The review.
On today's review, I'm reviewing Sepultura's new album, Quadra. One of my good friends, Manny, he says, hey, I know I'm an old head, but you need to cover that new Sepultura. Here you are, my friend Manny. I'm doing Sepultura's new album.
Keep the old heads happy.
So Quadra, the new album by Sepultura, was released by Nuclear Blast on February 7th. So it's been out for a little bit more than a week. Sepultura is a Brazilian heavy metal band and basically had their run through the 80s to the early 90s. They have influences of groove metal,
thrash metal,
Death metal.
prog metal. Sepultura is labeled for a lot of different things. They are multifaceted.
and they're just a fun time to listen to, honestly.
This is going to be their 15th studio release. Max and Igor Cavalera were two of the biggest names when they first came around.
In 1996,
Max ended up leaving the band, being replaced by Derek Green, who is the current vocalist. And then later, Igor Cavalera left in 2006. Currently, it's Derek Green, Andreas Kisser,
Paulo Jr.,
and Eloy Casagrande. I'm mainly going to be covering Isolation, although I did like a lot of the songs on the album. At the end, I'll
give you an album summary.
Let's start off the review with the guitars. The intro was dope. The main riff is thrash as fuck, and the chord progressions are amazing. It feels so prog metal, it's awesome. Sepultura is obviously adapting to a newer sound, which isn't bad. The fucking solo is sick, and I love how the guitar came out of the solo into the ending. It was so
Dope.
I just loved how they ended the song. 2 thumbs up by me. One of the best guitar performances I've heard this year so far, even though it's
February.
I love how they integrate their Brazilian culture into their metal music. It's very fascinating to listen to, and I love how they mix it up. Sepultura has a very unique drum sound that is very distinguishable. The drums definitely have a punk hardcore
Influence.
There's lots of fills. Pop is amazing. Without that snare sounding the way it sounds, it would just sound like fucking ass the whole way through. It's constant popping on the snare. Popcorn. Oval Redenbacher popping on the snare. Popcorn, popcorn, popcorn. It's just badass. The drum part is amazing. I like the consistent cadence of the drums.
The vocals.
Derek Green's vocals, I'm not that crazy about. They kind of come off like Metallica or Slayer, which isn't a bad thing. I love the lyrics and the meaning of the song, which is
The mass incarceration.
As they mentioned throughout the song.
In America and in other countries, mass incarceration is a problem. In Quadra, Andreas Kisser goes on to explain that we basically live in a set of rules within our country.
Play our game of life within those boundaries.
And I think that's pretty genius because the whole concept of the album is we're enslaved by money and this concept of like who's rich, who's poor, and that's just how we measure
People's worth.
And they're saying, you know, regardless of your quadra, regardless of where you live or your boundaries, you need money to survive. So the prime rule to play the game called life, hence the coin. The coin is forged with the senator's skull, who represents the set of rules and laws by what we live. The world map on his head, delimiting the borders of all nations, imaginary lines separating people by concepts of race and the sacred, as he goes on to say. So I love the theme of this album. It's well thought and it's not just so direct.
There's actually a point.
the pros. It's just straight heavy, and it has a lot of groove to it.
I'm talking like Austin Powers groove, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
The guitar is sick, and I must say I have to give this an award. The Epic as Fuck Award.
Because I keep saying epic throughout this whole fucking review.
You get the epic one. So go slay a fucking dragon and listen to Sepultura's new album. I had a lot of fun listening to this album throughout, because I had no skips through the entire album. The cons. There was one thing, and I just felt like it was just one song too long. I have ADD like a motherfucker. I have a really short attention span, and I was just like, man,
If it was just one song shorter,
I could get through this whole thing without feeling like I'm about to skip a song, even though I had no skips. When I was at the second to the last song, I was tempted to hit that next track button, but I totally reserved myself the rating. I liked Isolation, Raging Void.
Guardians of Earth.
the pentagram,
The instrumentation of the whole album was so progressive. I like the acoustic intro and basically the acoustic throughout Guardians of Earth. Feels like Christmas morning and you're out there in your little jammies and you're fucking unwrapping this Sepultura album. You're gonna be like,
Mommy, listen to the pentagram.
the album as a whole, Quadra. What a fucking fun time this was. You're getting 6 solos throughout this whole album. Drums are just gonna be in your face the whole time and you're gonna feel like you're in this epic movie. You got all this Brazilian influence, so it might be too spicy for some of you. Not everyone's gonna feel this album the way I did. I have to do right by this review and give this thing what it's worth. It was hard for me to shell out a 9. Finally, I have a 9 on the show. Check out this album. You're not gonna be displeased. Sepultura, Quadra, go check it out.
go add it on your Apple Music.
Diamond approved. That pretty much does it for today's review. Let's get into the news.
The news.
Asking Alexandria releases its new song called They Don't Want What We Want, and they don't care.
I'm not a huge fan of the song.
I'm not a huge fan of Danny Worsnop as of late. Asking Alexandria has definitely gotten soft, mainstream radio type rock music. Very mediocre and boring. Nothing we haven't seen before. It's a really good rock song, but a terrible metal song. I don't know why people are still labeling this as metal. It's called one of the most anticipated metal rock albums of 2020. I don't see anything metal about this. It feels like they're trying to be like Bring Me the Horizon with their pop rock success. It just doesn't feel very genuine, and I'm just not a fan. I don't want what they want apparently, so I'm fine with that. I'm not hating on Double A by any means. I like their earlier stuff a lot. I'm hoping that this will be a gateway band for people to get into rock and heavier music inevitably, so I'm not bashing it. It just seems like you're gonna see the song in Madden or FIFA, any of those like sports games. You're gonna see this song. It's gonna be the song that you're like doing your little Madden training to. For being called one of the most anticipated albums, we shall see, Sumerian Records, because I don't know. And as of right now, it's still to be determined. No one really knows anything about the album other than hearsay. I guess we'll just see what happens in the near future. I will drop a link below for Asking Alexandria's new song. Get at me at native_podcast. Tell me what you think about this new AA song.
Moving on,
Rage Against the Machine is on their reunion tour, and they've raised $3 million for charity. So basically how they intend on battling all the scalpers with their tickets is they're gonna have 10% of the tickets withheld, and those 10% of tickets are gonna be sold at charity prices. It's gonna cover the cost of the ticket plus a huge inflated amount to pay for your charity donation. Within these 10% tickets, they've actually raised over $3 million, which is really impressive. Tom Morello goes on Twitter and he basically puts it in layman's terms for everyone who doesn't understand. 100% of that donation is going to the charity of the city that you bought the ticket. And they're gonna show all the charity earnings for each city. But battling scalpers, I don't know how well that's gonna end up, because now you're getting a really inflated charity price. So it just kind of seems like they don't care how much you spend. The whole appeal is it's a tax write-off. If money's not an option for you, then you're probably gonna see Rage. So 2 things to look forward to today. I have 2 albums dropping today. You got The Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne.
Sharon! Sharon!
So Ozzy just dropped his new album. Ozzy is still fucking relevant, man. This guy's got over 7 million listeners on Spotify. Ordinary Man is the single and the name of the album. The single he did with Sir Elton John, and it is catchy as fuck. I don't know if it's because he sings along to the melody. I don't know what it is, but
He always comes through with the catchy songs.
and I also liked Under the Graveyard, another catchy song by Ozzy. This guy just knows how to crank out hits. Can't wait to check out the rest of the album today. If you like Ozzy, drop a link below. Go check out his new album, Ordinary Man. Unfortunately, Ozzy has canceled his North American tour for 2020 because of health problems. We would like to see Ozzy in the best health possible. We don't really care about the tour that much. I hope other people say the same thing. I'd rather see Ozzy in a healthier form. Let's all give our thoughts to Ozzy and hopefully he gets better soon. Also today, Polaris drops their new album, The Death of Me. I did the Hypermania review. I gave that an 8.8. It was such a great song. Polaris has turned into one of my favorite new bands in this metalcore genre. I feel like they've really dialed into their own sound and I totally get Polaris now. The band just feels fresh. They have a lot of talent and I really enjoy their vocalist, Jamie. They have almost 500,000 listeners on Spotify, which actually trumps Knocked Loose. Who would have thought? The songs that they have given us are Landmine, Masochist, and
Hypermania?
what is up with all these Australian metalcore bands coming out and just straight killing it as of late? I really recommend that you check out this album today. You won't be disappointed. Dropping a link below for these two new albums. You got Ozzy and you got Polaris. Go check them out today.
Tell me what songs you enjoyed the most off these albums.
Suicide Silence dropped their new album Valentine's Day. I listened to the whole thing when it dropped. I must say that this is a very fun album. You need to go check this out.
Especially if you're a Suicide Silence fan.
Eddie, to me, has solidified his spot with Suicide Silence. You Can't Stop Me album that he dropped was solid, but it wasn't anything to really write home about. The self-entitled album, I wasn't a fan by any means. There was nothing deathcore about it. You want deathcore. You're here for the breakdowns, and that's the whole point of checking out Suicide Silence. Two really good songs off of Suicide Silence's new album are Feel Alive
And
In Hiding. And a song with a lot of bounce on this record is Severe Obscene. So if you're into old Suicide Silence, I highly recommend this new album, Become the Hunter.
the riffs are heavy.
It feels like Eddie has finally found his way. It's an exciting time for Suicide Silence. I cannot wait to go see them on tour because Eddie is amazing live and he sounds just like he does on the record live. Become the Hunter. Go check it out in its entirety. It dropped on Valentine's Day. I will drop a link below. Tell me what your favorite songs are off the album.
And that pretty much does it for the news.
Let's get into today's rant.
The Rant!
You motherfuckers wearing band shirts of bands you've never heard of. Look, it's okay if you want to support rock. Don't wear a band shirt because it makes you look cooler. The whole point is so I approach you and say, hey, you like Slayer, I like Slayer, let's have a conversation about Slayer, let's make a friend today. It's kind of hard to make friends if you're not listening to the music of the band that you're representing.
So stop doing that.
And if you don't listen to that band, don't bother wearing the shirt. It doesn't make you look edgy, and you kind of look stupid when they call you out and they say, what's your favorite song? And you don't even know where to go. Raining Blood? No. Of course you're gonna say the classic. I mean, come on, man. You don't want to be called a fucking poser, okay? It's degrading.
Moving on.
You ticket purveyors, I'm so sick of these fucking fees, okay? When you say $44 for a ticket, be $44 for a ticket. All of us are fucking broke and we can't afford $900 Rage Against the Machine tickets. Fees, plus the beer that you're gonna buy at the show, plus the merch. It's gonna turn into a very expensive day. So keep your fucking ticket prices low. Everyone that's been going on these like reunion tours are fucking killing me with their prices. It's ridiculous. And stop with the fees, okay? So that's it for today's rant. Let's get on with the list.
The List!
The list, my top 5. You can find my top 5 on my Diamonds in the Rough playlist on Spotify. I will drop a link below, that way you can check out today's modern metal music. I have some rock songs on there, so you're not completely abandoned, and it basically has everything from Silverstein to Born Ashore. There's something for everyone. If you're trying to get acclimated with today's metal music, I got you. Go check out my Diamonds in the Rough playlist. I'll drop a link below, that way you can check it out. Coming in at number 5. I have Alaska with a Z because they're from Germany.
That's How they think we spell Alaska?
Okay, all jokes aside, this band is actually really awesome. Go check out Alaska with their new Living Hell, coming in at number 4. Brand new Hatebreed. Who's not excited about a brand new Hatebreed song? Go check out my number 4, When the Blade Drops. So coming in at number 3. I have Advocate, an Australian metal band, my number 3 on the list. Coming in at number 2. Invent Animate with Dark. You know, I could have easily put Halcyon as number 2, but Dark just edges it out a little bit for me. Go check out my number 2 spot. Last but not least, my number 1, which makes Song of the Week. Number 1, Silent Planet dropped Trilogy.
And it is so heavy.
Garrett Russell is one of my favorite vocalists. This guy has vocal color. When you hear Garrett screaming, you know it's Garrett. Their cleans also go hard as well. The ambience is amazing. This feels like a new direction and I love it. It feels like they're going a little bit heavier. You can feel the bass in the master. Honestly, the way they write all their songs, it always comes off like poetry. Now, these guys are not uneducated by any means. Garrett actually has a master's degree in psychology. You can imagine what his lyrics are up to par with. You need to check out Trilogy, Silent Planet's new release, Song of the Week.
Heavy as hell.
Go check out this breakdown and get into Silent Planet.
Now that we got the list out of the way,
Let's get on to my last segment.
Hidden gems.
Hidden gems.
Today's hidden gem, I've picked Mastodon's song Oblivion, which comes off their album Crack the Sky. It was released February 16th, 2009. Mastodon is based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and they are one of the most well-known heavy metal bands of today. Oblivion debuted number 11 on Billboard's Top 200. Now on the Top 100, you're not even gonna see a metal song.
The times have definitely changed.
So Crack the Sky actually has a lot of meaning behind it. Crack the Sky was named after losing someone very close to you, and in that moment it's enough to crack the sky. The guitars go hard. Mastodon is a Grammy-winning metal band. I really got into heavy music with bands like Mastodon back in 2009. This song is officially 11 years old. So today I'm digging up Oblivion for all you guys to check out. I will drop a link below for today's hidden gem. Get at me at native_podcast. Let me know how you felt about today's hidden gem. Also on Twitter, recommend any hidden gems that you would like to see on a future episode. That pretty much sums up today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all the love and support that I've been getting off my reviews.
I never thought that metal reviews would mean so much to people.
The only thing that you need to do right now is
subscribe.
ring the bell. That way you get notified on all new content, and I will be posting every Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, shine on. Just be yourself.